All right. So, hello everyone. Welcome to All In on Real Estate. I'm your host, Aharon Goins. I started this meetup because when I was in the military, no one in my circles talked about real estate. A lot of times they talked about debt and other financial things, but nothing about real estate. So I want to start a meetup where people can talk about real estate, learn, and start building generational wealth for them and families. I'm very, very excited for our guest speaker today, Ms. Xena Stryker. How you doing, Xena?
I'm great, Aaron. How are you?
I am good. I'm good. The reason why I met Xena was we met her on Clubhouse, and she was so impressive, just talking about her story, what she's doing, currently and her future. That I definitely want to have her on a meetup. So I'm very, very excited to have you. So let's get started right away. Let me ask you. I know you're an architect. So let's get your origin story of how you became an architect. What motivated you to do it?
Well, my story is very, very unique. I'm sure you all know that you probably don't know this exact statistic, but 0.3% of architects are Black women. And I didn't grow up knowing an architect or anything. The closest I ever saw of one in my community was a fictional character portrayed by Wesley Snipes in the movie Jungle Fever. So I never saw one. But my father, he had a very rough background. He was in and out of prison. Those guys who were like radicals, I guess you can say, in like the 70s. Like, he was a part of the movement, which is where Xena came from, with an X for Malcolm X. He was a part of that crowd, and it landed him in prison. So while he was in there, he wanted me to do things the right way. It gave him a lot of time to sit down and think about things and think about the poor decisions. And he gave birth to 3 daughters, and he thought that his karma would come to him through his girls. And so while he was there, he created a master plan for me. And he taught me how to draw and everything. And he was like, I don't want you working in the hot sun and doing a lot of physical labor. I want you to get paid to think and not so much do. I want you to become an architect. And even though I was a girl, all of my cousins were boys. So I would ride dirt bikes and play with like Legos. They didn't have pink Legos back then. They were like primary colors in black and green. And I still liked it. And what I couldn't build, I would use playing cards, and I would make like little neighborhoods. And my father, he saw it, and he just kept putting me in art contests. And I went to high school. I soared in Skills USA VICA and drafting programs, and it afforded me a partial academic scholarship to Tuskegee University. And the reason that I chose Tuskegee was I started receiving a lot of mail. Like, once you take the PSAT and the SAT and you kind of write down the major that you're interested in, all of the universities start sending you brochures, And I saw something on Tuskegee's brochure that was interesting. I saw Kenan Ivory Wayans went there, saw Tom Joyner went there, and then I saw that the students built the campus like fresh out of slavery in 1865. Not only did they build the campus, they made the bricks. And that's when I learned about combustibility. A brick is only good if it can withstand fire. So they use horsehair and different things, and they just kept doing different burn tests to make sure it could, outlast fires. And then once they got that magic recipe, the way they paid their tuition was to build that campus. So it was like a school for the norm. It was Tuskegee Institute, but they learned a trade, but they also learned the sophisticated part, not just construction, like how to draw, like from Robert Taylor. And I thought that was so cool because, just a couple of years prior, those same people weren't allowed to learn how to read. If they tried to learn to read, their eyes would be burned out. And I'm like, how amazing is it that slavery ends, and not only do they want to be free, they want a degree, the audacity. Right. Then they even built the facility to earn the degree. And that's when I was sold. I said, okay, I'm going to Tuskegee. And so I went there on partial academic scholarship, and I just followed the steps afterwards to get to where I am today.
Wow. I love it. I love it. I think that's amazing right there. So when you first, got your degree, started getting into it, what was your first challenges when you first got in?
Whew. Well, architecture school is something that needs like a Netflix special. People have no clue what it's like to earn that 5-year professional degree. You have to plan out when you're going to take a bath. You have to plan out where you're going to eat McDonald's. Like, it's crazy. You're going in freshman year with like 18 credit hours per semester. And then your architecture studio is 5 credit hours, and it's from 1 to 5 p.m. straight. So that's not even including your core classes like your maths and, all the other classes. And your friends are partying, and then you just sitting back like, why me? I don't even have the full college experience. Even if you want to be a lawyer, you go to undergrad for something else first, and then you mature over 4 years, and then you go to law school. But in architecture school, no, you go straight in 17, 18 years young, and you're staying up doing all-nighters. The phrase going back to the drawing board, that's an architectural phrase, because something's not right. You go back and you just keep drawing and you just keep drawing, and then you stay up all night, and then they bring in these juries of like seasoned architects that you pin up your work, and they look at it and they rip your self-esteem to shreds. And this isn't a one-time thing. This is like once a month for 5 years. Like, so I think we started out like 56 strong, and only like 6 made it. Like, and just paying your tuition isn't your bill. Like, you have to buy all of your Mylar tracing paper, repeatograph pens, your wood sticks, and it's just so much money. So if you come from a background like me, where your father's incarcerated and your mother just doesn't care, where do you get your stuff, And Tuskegee was kind of like the TV show A Different World, where it was predominantly African American, but it was the uppity African Americans, where their parents made a lot of money. So most of the time I was embarrassed, just to tell them, hey, I'm only here because I'm on scholarship. I didn't even have a ride home for like spring break and like summer break. It was, all I have to say is I clearly had to have wanted that degree, because I made it, and getting that degree was just a start. And I think everybody that I've spoken to, both white and Black, I asked them, do you have a little bit of PTSD from architecture school? And they all say yes. Yeah.
I love it. I love that. So okay, you graduate, and that's an achievement in itself. And like you said, there's not a lot of Black women architects, and it makes you stand out. But what are the challenges when you first get into the industry after you got your degree and things like that? What's the next step for you?
Well, architecture, engineering, and any sophisticated field is kind of not so what you know is who you know. And they really hire you based off your resume or whatever, but you only stay if they like you. It's politics. It's a good old boy club. So when I graduated in the middle of something called the Recession. Oh man, like architectural firms were doing so bad that they were finishing up their projects and just cutting off the lights and closing the door. A lot of architectural firms couldn't even pay their rent for their commercial property that they were, leasing out. So it was bad. I know some architects that were working at Home Depot, like seriously. So not only did I graduate, everybody else with an architecture degree graduated. We all needed a job, so I'm like, what am I gonna do? So it was so embarrassing. I had this big shot professional degree and ended up working at Hooters selling chicken wings. Like, do you know how I felt? Like I was a waitress, and I'm like, man, I can't wait till this recession thing is over. And I'm emailing Perkins and Will, HOK. I didn't know anybody at those firms, JLL, and of course I'm not getting anything back because, nobody knew me. So finally I decided I was gonna do what my teachers did for me. And I was gonna teach high school because my teachers were my parents. They knew my situation. So I taught high school. I started a magnet program. I taught in Atlanta, and my students, they soared. You know, the same organizations that I soared in, I was an advisor over TSA and Skills USA, FBLA, all of those honor societies. And I was able to take those kids on trips that were really vacations because they didn't have that, you know, and they started kicking butt, you know, like state competition, national competition. And these were the kids that were kind of thrown away. You know, the administrators at the school said they were bad kids, but if you just love them a little bit, they'll love you back, you know, and show them what they have, because, you know, nobody's really like putting anything in them that they can design a building. So after I built up that resume enough, that's when some of the architectural firms actually started opening my emails, you know, like I have enough discipline to be a high school teacher, you know. And I started teaching as an adjunct professor. And then finally, I received an email out of nowhere. And to this day, we don't know how this man found me, because I asked him, like, how did you find me? And we did reverse email searches and everything. We don't know. And I was finally hired in 2014 at my first architectural firm. And we did a lot of government work. And that was when I found out about the airport, the Atlanta airport, the world's busiest airport, and how minorities, such as women, you know, by law, they have to give bids and opportunities to minorities. And the owner of that firm, he was Persian, and he was nice enough to break that down to me, that there was room at the table for me. And so if you look at my background behind me, this was one of the bids for the Atlanta airport. So this behind me was never built. So if anybody's looking and they want to build out a store in the airport, you can buy this from me. You know, we put in great work. But that was my first architectural job. And my boss, the one who hired me, the one who sent me the email, his name is Yahya Hassan. He's now my business partner. He's part owner of Xena Design and Marketing Firm.
Wow. Okay. Extended partnership right there. Right.
He was a mentor, and then he just stuck around, and he's elderly. I think he's maybe 67. Mm-hmm. So he's living out his glory years, and he can't take all this knowledge with him. So I held on to him for dear life. You know, all the mistakes he made out there, I don't want to make them. So I keep them with me so that if he sees that I'm about to make a mistake, he can just save me from it, or, you know, help with problem solving. Plus, you know, he stamps all the drawings, and it makes our insurance lower because he's been licensed for 44 years.
Wow. Okay. Wow. Okay. I love that you held, like you said, you held on to somebody who has experience more than you have, and stuck with them, and now you guys have a beautiful partnership, and I love that about that. I think there's really a lot of resilience that went on for you. You know, you're starting off fresh, you're not getting no bids, you had to work at Hooters, you had to do these other things, then you start being your own basic self-employed by having a school and things like that. I think that's very, very cool and exotic what you did. So I more praise to you. Okay, so 2014, you meet your business partner. Now you're moving forward. So take us along that path to current day.
Yeah, so I started working at a firm called Raven Architects, and they specialize in hotels. I recently saw on LinkedIn that now they're doing like luxury homes. I don't know if COVID is the reason for that, because a lot of us started spreading out with our niche because of, you know, money was a little low, so we started doing more. But at the time, it was strictly hospitality, and I loved working at Raven because it was just hotels. And what better way to really, really learn a craft than when you just do one thing over and over and over and over, you know? So I started doing Marriott's, Sheraton's, St Regis, what's the hotel? It's like a rectangle, and it's always like in the middle, it's always like grass and like a water fountain. Embassy Suites. When you look at these hotels, it's the same thing over and over and over. So there I was coming in and I just started learning it. Okay, you got your pre-function area, you got your sundries, you got your check-in area, and then second floor through whatever floor is the same thing, stacked up. Then you put your swimming pool and your lounge on the top and you're done. And so that gave me a chance to really understand brandability, what it's like to work with major brands, how you must maintain, you can't do whatever you want to do in embassy suites. Like I just told y'all, it's kind of always like a courtyard in the middle. You can't do that, So I learned architecture from working at Raven and just doing those companies. And then that's when I was able to put a full set of construction documents together and do shop drawings. And it was like a remedial class just over and over so I could really get it through my head. And so once I got it through my head, I was ready to go. Like, okay, I get it now. And then I went to a firm called Harris Plus Smith, and I was able to start doing different things like multifamily apartment complexes, police stations. And I started combining what I learned from my first firm and my second firm, started doing government projects and understanding what SPLOSH means, tax money. Remember, I already knew the city of Atlanta, so now I'm back again and they remembered me. And it was like everything that I learned from both firms, I pretty much had it. And then I was ready to rock and roll and start my own firm. And that's when I learned things like boutique hotels, meaning I don't have to do what Marriott says. I can put a disco ball in there. I can do a bed shaped like a heart. I can do, swanky bathrooms now, because at the end of the day, no disrespect to Marriott or Hilton, you're not gonna go there and run and tell people, I stayed at the dopest Hilton last night. No, because Hillson is Hilton, but if you are a newbie developer and you got something small, that's when you can really get a young architect that's creative and funk it out. And before you know it, you're getting music videos filmed in there. They're doing TV shows in there. Levi's is bringing in beautiful European models and doing photo shoots in there. And now it's just really bookable, And so that's when I realized, I think I like creative design or experimental design. And when I was working at those firms prior, some of the older people, you kind of tell them you have an idea and they'll just shut you down. You're doing too much. No, versus at my firm, I say, bring it. What you got, because when our backs are up against the wall and the client is thinking maybe they want to go with another team, we like to whip out that secret ingredient, and just show them like, oh, we have a rendering and a virtual walkthrough and you can see this idea that we have. And they're like, oh, okay. So that's when we brought in the marketing aspect. My son had me to buy these expensive things. He was playing a video game and I was like, why am I spending $200-300 on this? And it was these goggles. They were called Oculus goggles. And I'm like, that's a waste of money. So I saw him like with them on and I was like, give me those. And I put them on and I was like, this kind of looks like architecture. This kind of looks like what I do. Then I started just Googling Oculus goggles and I was like, whoa, I can put this with my architecture, like the thing I have behind me, and you can put the goggles on and we no longer have to like take the client to the site. We can virtually take them there. And that was something unique that my firm brought to the table. Like now, when you do a big project, you get the free renderings and the free virtual walkthroughs and a free set of Oculus goggles that comes with it, so we can help you see the building before it's built. I see someone has a question like, what software? We typically start out in Revit, and then we put it into the SketchUp, and then from SketchUp, we render it with the engine. The engine that we use is either Inkscape or Lumion. We're thinking about moving this to Twin Motion, but I have to learn that software. But I know it sounds like a lot of money with all the software and all the goggles, but you win bids faster. When people are sending over proposals, if I can send over a proposal with a rendering of what the whole dang on building is going to look like, they'll probably just go with me.
I would say that's brilliant. You send them a pair of Oculus as well.
Mm-hmm. They get a free pair of goggles.
small investment, and you get a better chance of winning.
And
That's
not
brilliant.
the bootleg ones, the real ones.
Yeah, that's brilliant.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, man, I like how, you said your firm is basically about creativity. You want to be creative in what you do. So with everything you learn, and I'm gonna move to the future, but with everything you learn, what would you tell a young Black architect that's starting off?
Well, I would say an architect of any color, get you a good mentor, because, man, you need someone that can do two things. Number one, mentor you. Two, advocate for you. Now, there are so many people that have promised me that they were going to show me the ropes in architecture and real estate development, and they just didn't have the time. It's not like they lied to me or anything. They had good intentions, but they're in their prime, and they just didn't have the time. But see, with my mentor, he's older. He's had his heyday. I love sitting with older architects, and they tell me stories from when they were partying. There was this one woman, she talked with a cigarette, and she was like, "Oh, darling, I met a man in Europe. I stayed with him for 3 weeks. I got tired of him, and then I flew to a job site in Hawaii. And then I met that man. I got tired of him too. And then I just sit back and I just listen to the amazing stories. And you can learn so much about business, about life. If there's a fishy character that you don't know if you should or shouldn't do business with, if there's something weird going on with the government, you learn so much, because the mentors, sometimes they don't even have to come out to the construction site. They'll let you know what's going on just by what you tell them. And in terms of advocating, when you're young, some people can feel like you need to be initiated. It's almost like joining a fraternity or sorority. Like, dang, just give me the advice. Why are you bullying me? I just want to, And so when you have somebody to step in and advocate for you, it kind of helps you with the gaslighting, and you realize, I'm not tripping. This person was bullying me, or they were denying me of an opportunity, And women in this field, if you are pretty, and not just this field, I say any field, if you're pretty, you're going to get uninvited a lot, and you're not going to know why. Like, what just happened? Why was I uninvited? Or you may get in trouble and you don't know why. But sometimes you can fall victim to people's insecurities. You have no clue that this person, you just waving, hey girl, you have no clue that this woman hates your guts. And I'm like, I wish you would have told me. I would have stopped waving at you. When did you start hating me? So sometimes it takes an advocate from the outside and look in and just say, hey, Xena, that lady don't like you, okay? Stop talking to her. Go over there, So try your best to get a really good mentor that can help you with problem solving, somebody that has been there, done that, doesn't see you as a threat, and will give you the best advice possible so that you can create generations of knowledge, because it's not many more architects out here. Everybody's a realtor, interior designer, or a general contractor. There are architects. When I say out here, I mean in marketing. Architects don't market themselves. So it takes 50 architects to design a building. So you don't know, this is not like the era of Frank Lloyd Wright or Louis Sullivan. You don't know who's an architect nowadays, because architects don't market themselves. But I would tell any young person, screw that, get on Instagram, get on LinkedIn, and get your money. Don't just sit in a cubicle letting them use up your talent. Market yourself so that you can get what's yours.
Love it. I know that, and we talked, beforehand about stuff, but I know that you're doing more stuff than this architect now. How do you manage your time and everything like that with your hands so many different projects?
Well, when I was working at Raven Architects, I would leave on my lunch break and literally shoot a music video for 2 Chainz or Ludacris and come back to work. And like nobody could understand what I was doing. Like I would come back looking like a stripper and they would be like, what is going on with her? And the truth is, number one, I was still young. I felt like just because I'm smart, I shouldn't have to just give away my youth. That's not fair, you know? And then second, I wasn't making much money. You know, I was making like, I think like 48,000. And so if I could go and just go like this, a music video for 1 hour and get paid $500, I'm going to do that instead of going to Subway and buying a sandwich. I'm going to, you know, so that's when I noticed that like show business, it was easy and it was fun. And I got into it, and I was on this TV show when I was working at my last firm, and I absolutely hated the last firm I was working at. It wasn't the firms that I mentioned before, because I love those firms. But this firm that I worked at that I won't mention, it was a racist environment. And I was hired to kind of just show people that they had diversity. So because I feel two categories. And every day I felt like a polka dotted flamingo. Like I felt like everybody was staring at me, or if they ever had a question about like Kevin Hart or Tiffany Haddish, they'd come and ask me, you know, just stupid stuff, you know, and I'm just like, I hate it here, you know? And so I remember filling out my end of the year company survey, and it was just full of so much audacity. It was like, how do you think you fit in with the staff? And I'm like, first of all of y'all weird. So why would you ask me how I feel about fitting in with y'all? You guys are the weirdos, and you're here all night and all on the weekends eating chicken nuggets and drinking beer like you don't have a real life. Guess what? I want to go home. You know, so they really didn't like my honesty on the survey. I'm like, you know, I don't like my son being raised by a nanny. I don't like the fact that I'm drawing to 4 a.m. and then you want me back at 9 a.m. and then you want me to go punch on the construction site and do this and do this and do that. And the lady who I was talking about that talked like, you know, with the cigarette, I watched her. She was my last supervisor there, and she had throat cancer from all of her years of partying. And when she went into hospice, everybody was fighting over her office. And then when she got out, they didn't give her back her office. They didn't treat her with respect. And she was working on the Infinite Energy Center in Cobb County. And she was so focused on this project that she literally waited till she finished the project and stamped the drawings, and 2 days later died. And the only thing that happened was they went and took all of her pink hard hats and her stuff and put it in a damn box. And that was it. I mean, like, that was it. Like, the company just moved on. And when I saw that, I was like, that's not going to happen to me, because she didn't deserve that, you know? And for her to be a woman in this firm of 200 men, you know, and she was an older white woman, and they treated her like crap. And nobody would advocate for her. And they used to call her like words and stuff, you know? And I said, I'm going to find something that makes me happy and makes me money. And that's when I found acting. And when I was on the show, they liked the fact that I was designing buildings. So they said, you know, we have a larger role for you. I said, I can't commit because right now I'm working on the Chick-fil-A headquarters. I can't commit. And they said, we'll film your scenes at night because we don't want to interrupt that. And this is Lionsgate. I don't know if you know anything about that production company. It was Lionsgate. And then when they needed me for voiceovers, they found a studio right next to my firm that I could go to on my lunch break. And they always called me Architect Bay on that show. And one day I realized that the money I was making on that show per day was what I made at that firm in 2 weeks. And I just kept saving up my money. And then one day I said, you know what, I'm out of here. And my firm had no clue that I was a SAG-AFTRA principal on a TV show until they saw it on LinkedIn. Like, they really thought I was so miserable that I went away to a horrible life, and they had no clue that I was becoming a star and I had saved up all my money. I didn't even touch the firm's checks, but I'm just a humble person. I never told anybody at work, And then what's crazy was when I was on that set, somebody from Lionsgate was like, we told some people about you and we think you need to fill out this application. They really like you, but you still got to fill out this application. And so I filled out the application. I didn't know who it was for or what, but it was for a design show. And time goes by. I move out to Beverly Hills and I'm out here minding my business. And I was on my computer randomly and I got a pop-up, bloop, from my email, and it said, hello from HGTV/Discovery Channel. And I'm like, what? And that's who it was that was interested in me. The Discovery Channel owns HGTV, and they were telling me they've never had anyone that was that had an architectural firm. Everybody else, they're realtors, GCs, interior designers, And with my background and everything, they gave me the opportunity to interview my own producers. I don't know why they didn't want to go with Lionsgate. I was like, I like Lionsgate. I like the showrunners that I've been with on P-Valley. Can I have them? But apparently the Discovery Channel, they have their own people that they use, their own pool. And so the producers that I chose was the same producers that did The Property Brothers. And I had them for 9 months, but I noticed that they kept telling me I could only do houses. And it just wasn't a good match, So after 9 months, I contacted Discovery Channel and I was like, is it okay if I let those producers go and find my own? And if I want to come back, we can shop here. Thank you for discovering me, but I may need to go to another network because I see in your core principles, you guys have to focus on houses. This is HGTV. I get it, but that's not really what I do. And they were so kind. They were like, yeah, go for it. We would love to have you as a guest judge, or I forgot those shows. It's like Design Wars or Design Stars or something like that. And I was like, yeah, whatever you need me for, I'm here. I will collab with you. I will always be HGTV talent, So just recently I did find a good producer, an A-lister that's a rapper. And we're shopping at about 12 networks to see who's going to buy. So there's no final decision made, but I will always tell people this story because I want people to know how good the people at HGTV and the Discovery Channel was to me. But they understood that I'm young, and I just really want people to understand architecture, especially little girls, and you're not really going to get that with houses. So they understood my mission and they gave me the space to push it out.
Cool. All right, last question. So I definitely want the attendees to ask you questions. What is, and I know you just said about the TV show and things like that, but what else is the future for you?
I actually just started a furniture line. What's weird about that is I was designing a project down in Grand Prairie, Texas, and the client was a newbie. He didn't know what he was doing, full of ego, and everybody got mad at him. I was the last person to fall off the bandwagon. His GC got mad at him, all the vendors got mad, and I'm so loyal, I would just stay, but he was just a big screw up, And so I designed all the furniture and got the furniture like custom made over in Turkey. And so when the project died, because everybody bailed on them, I was like, all this furniture, what we gonna do with it? Then I was like, hold on a second, I designed the furniture. Then I was like, maybe I should just trademark Stryker accents and, put a tag on the furniture, come out with a brand and make a website and sell furniture, like really gaudy, sexy, eclectic furniture, because this furniture is so different. It had to be custom made, So I actually came out with a furniture line, and right now I'm just looking to put it in a different interior design shows and come out with a catalog and speak with Wayfair and other companies about them pushing it out. So, just because something negative goes wrong, I really hate what happened to that. I forgot what it's called, restaurateur, whatever you call it, entrepreneur that specializes in restaurants. I hate that he learned his lesson the hard way and the project died. but I had to figure out, what was I gonna do with all of my leftover furniture and time. And something good came out of it. I started a furniture line. So just try to look for the positive in negative situations and, make lemonade out of lemons.
I love it, Xena. You are doing big things. I love your story. It's so inspirational, and I cannot wait for others to hear it. Please raise your hand. Peggy, go first, and please ask your question. I see you want to ask a question for a while.
No, I just came up the furniture. What kind of furniture is it? Like you've got this line, but is it for commercial? Would it fit like in a hotel? That, because we could connect you to people that are building construction that it might work in. So
yes, Peggy, it was mainly again for a restaurant, but then it's really like sophisticated furniture, so it could definitely go inside of commercial projects, hotels, etc. In terms of it going inside of a house, if you are one of those or know someone that's one of those people where you have the leopard print, cheetah print, zebra print, one of those like really sophisticated people that have like the purple and the turquoise is for you. It's for it's furniture that you're not gonna find in Z Gallery. Like it's really like it's obnoxious. It's so sexy that it's how can I'm trying to think of like a movie where like I don't know, The Devil Wears Prada. Like it's like, who does this woman think she is with this sexy furniture like this? Like she is so full of herself. It's like that. We have Chesterfield sofas that are like 50 feet long. Like it's just really like arrogant and obnoxious, I guess you can say. We work with different colors, whatever a person needs, we're able to do it in 3D and try to get that look that they want. And we try to size it up and then we ship it. And it takes about 7 weeks to get from Turkey to the United States of America.
do you do that same virtual thing for the furniture that you do for the architect?
Yes, ma'am. The same thing.
Right.
We try to like get your area and then drop the furniture into the area so that it fits perfectly and so that the colors complement one another. And we have different fabrics, not just the animal print. We have some Chesterfield sofas that are like neon green seats with like hot pink arms. It's like furniture that makes you just say, oh, it's very experimental.
Sierra Madre, if you know where that is, which is by Pasadena, just east of Pasadena.
Not far. Nice. Thank
And
you.
you're in Beverly Hills?
Yes. I have a home in Beverly Hills and one in a place you probably never heard of called Santa Clarita.
I know the place well, thank you.
Oh, wow.
I stay away from it. It's hotter than where I live.
It is. That's why I have my little apartment in Beverly.
All right. Anybody else want to have a question for Xena?
Also a value add to a developer client. Yeah. When it comes to what we do, we help developers out because sometimes we'll go out with the developer and we'll see, let's say it's an opportunity zone, and we'll look and we'll come up with ideas. So let's say it's like we'll say we can make this a town center. And then I'll like put like an anchor store there. I always try to do like a green anchor store, like a Publix or a Whole Foods, Farmers Market, or Sprouts, because that's what's in right now. And then everything else will be kind of built to suit, meaning like anything attached to it is just a shell, and whoever wants it can just come in and build it out, So in the renderings, I'll just do generic stuff like jewelry, denim, jeans, ice cream shop, then I'll put like something in the middle with some different pop-up experiences, and then I'll do around it like a luxury condominium, rooftop tennis courts, rooftop swimming pool, all of that. And I'll create like a 6-page package, and again, I'll have the virtual still photos or whatever, and we give that to the city and we say, do you like it? Do you approve of it? And once the city says yes, and if it's an opportunity zone and they help out with the permits and everything, it's shovel ready at that point. And sometimes we don't even build it. Like if you don't want to get a loan and build that thing out and wait to for your ROI, we've already done all the work. You can just sell the presentation package, you know, and the permits to somebody that wants to build it. So yeah, we team up with developers all the time and come up with different presentation packages just so the city, whoever's like a politician, a city council guy or mayor, somebody can take full credit for it and say they're bringing this to the city. They're lying. You know, we came up with the idea, but if you need this to push your agenda and make it look like you care about this community and you're bringing this, take it. We don't care. As long as we get paid, we'll stay out the way. Nobody has to know who we are. We don't care.
Here I'm trying to do my first commercial development of built to suit as well. That's my first endeavor into the market. So I talked to a developer the other day, and so since I'm kind of new to the real estate environment and developing, he explained to me that, you know, for his firm, he goes in and hires the architects, hires the construction companies. He does the full development himself, and I could either just pass the deal on to him, or I could start a development company and just compete against him and do it myself, basically. So I was unaware of that till just recently. I thought I could just go hire a developer. I suppose there are developers you could hire for hire, but is that the norm, or is he just happen to be a development?
The developer, they're just using our work, to be honest.
You guys are also a development company, right?
No.
Oh, okay.
We are the people that developers come to.
So
you
architectural designers.
Yeah, like we have this money, and what should we do with it? So you can go to any architectural firm and just have the money or access to the money. And the architectural firm is going to come up with the idea and the master planning, and they're going to come up with all of your drawings, presentation drawings, schematic drawings, everything. And they're going to hook you up with, once they do the construction document set, which are the real hardline drawings, and the plans, the set is going to be like really thick, you know, they're going to connect you with mechanical, electrical, plumbing, so they can do their drawings, and, you know, they quote you. And then they're going to connect you with really good commercial builders. Then the commercial builders are going to price everything. And that's how you know how much everything is going to cost. And then you get your loan, and then you build it. And then the architect can do construction administration, or you can hire an outsider. But that person just goes in and they make sure that the builders are staying on schedule, and everything is quality. Like with me, I go in and I'm not a sexist person. I hope y'all not getting that from me. But I think that females who do construction administration, we have a very good eye for detail. So if there's like paint dripping or something, I'm going to take a sticky note and stick it to every, you know, because somebody needs to come and fix this, you know. I'm going to sit my behind on every toilet and rock, you know. And if something ain't right with the toilet, I'm going to say something. I'm going to check and make sure there's a tampon dispenser and disposable thing in every single stall in the female bathrooms. You know, some men will do that, you know, but a lot of men just, you know, say, yeah, I did it, and then it's not done, you know. And so we go and we try to make sure that everything is right, you know. Even though there's a 1-year warranty on everything, typically, I'm going to still, after the ribbon cutting ceremony, I'm going to still go to a restaurant I designed or something and just go up in there like undercover boss, because I'm that dedicated to make sure it's built out correctly. So, yeah, Tony, you can hire a really good, for this to be like your first, I would not recommend you starting out with a firm as small as mine. I think you should go to the big dogs. I think you should go to like the JLLs and the, you know, HOKs and the Cooper Carries, you know, so that there's a transfer of information to you, because it'll be a full-time internship for you, you know, and then let them do all the work and you learn from it. And then you can handle a small firm like me. So you hiring a developer, I don't think you should.
Well, this is just a small, it's estimated about 1.3 million, just a shell on a 1 acre lot for a restaurant. And we already have a tenant with a 10-year lease. We're looking for a 20-year lease. But I I was under the impression I could just go hire a developer, but it seems like either I'm hiring them and they're doing everything, or I basically become a developer and hire the construction crew, the architects, the electrical, the plumbing, and all.
And Tony, I just think that if you hire a really good architecture firm, it doesn't have to be a massive one. By the time you get done, you'll be a developer. So it's like you just learning, that's just my recommendation. Also, I decided to go to school for real estate development. So right now I'm at Auburn University to get a master of real estate development. I'm like the youngest in my cohort. Everybody else is like older. And some of them are failed developers who decided to go to college, and and it's not like a crappy program where we're cooped up in like a dorm room. It's like we're staying in hotels, and it's only like 4 site visits per year. They're out of the country. They pay for all of our food and everything. And my tuition was paid through military post 9/11. So, and it covered just about everything. So school is always an option. And right now I'm in a cohort with Project REAP through the Urban Land Institute. And Project REAP is for minorities, but it's teaching us how to become developers. So if you're not a minority, you can just go straight to the Urban Land Institute and find out the alternative programs. I also did a program through the city of Atlanta with the airport, a small business development program. And they taught us a lot about developing and winning bids with the government.
Yeah, you mentioned opportunity zones. That's also an endeavor I'm involved in, OZ Growth Fund up there at the top. So I have an opportunity zone fund as well. And we're looking at building manufacturing plants around the country. So what have you done in opportunity zones? Have you, has somebody funded a project that you developed?
Yeah.
Really?
There was a house, I see the questions, I'm gonna go to them in a second. There was a house across the street from Tyler Perry Studios, a raggedy house. And this woman, a hairstylist out of New York, she wanted to put some, like 3 houses over there. So it was like, why would you want to do that across the street from Tyler Perry Studios? And so when I was on a TV show, P-Valley, every night when we wrapped, there was nowhere to go, like for drinks or like to eat or anything. We like Tyler Perry Studios brings in at least like 600 people per day, just like, I'm talking just film crew, like the grips and all of them, and then you got the actors, the A-listers and the principals and stuff. So when these people get off of work, of course they want like a cold beer or a glass of wine, but there's literally nothing right there. And so this woman bought this house and the land came with it right across the street from Tyler Perry Studios. I'm like, are you crazy? We're gonna tear down that house, and what you really bought was the land, And so we came up with a way for her. She didn't know what to do. So it was all our idea. Like, let's do a 3-level commercial property. On the bottom, we're gonna do like a market, 2nd level restaurant, and the top is like a rooftop lounge. I always want to take advantage of that square footage left over at, on the roof. And so I'm like, what about farm to fork, let people go here and eat and stuff. Then they can have views of Tyler Perry Studios and things. And then on the left and the right, boom, let's go ahead and put some brownstones there. And so I did the presentation package, and it was approved by the zoning board, and they helped out tremendously. Again, that was an opportunity zone. Even though Tyler Perry Studios, Fort McPherson is right there, that was an opportunity zone. So this woman is gonna, I don't know when they're gonna break ground, but she didn't know what she had. So she came across some people with big imaginations that understood it. And it just so happened that I was working on P-Valley for 2 years across the street. So I knew what that community needed, and was able to push her in the right direction. So, and I think that restaurant and market is going to be built to suit. Like, I don't think she's going to build it out on the inside, because that's not really her thing. I think her thing is like making money off of those brownstones, but I even had to tell her, like, we're going to do a rendering, and we're going to stick the sign in the ground, and we're going to put your broker's phone number on it. So if anybody wants us, they call that number. Like, I had to like really walk her through it because she didn't know, but that's okay. Now she knows. All right. I own 3 restaurants. 10-year lease is coming. I personally won't go for a 20-year lease. Yeah. who wants to deal with somebody for 20 years? You don't know, like, you don't know what's going to happen in 20 years. Like, that's how it goes. Yes.
Do you do like urban planning jobs?
Yeah. We do some of everything right now. Our most recent client, they want us to develop. Has anybody ever heard of Jackson, Michigan?
Yeah. Oh, no.
Exactly. You was like, yeah, that's Jackson, Mississippi.
Yeah.
Their development group, they didn't know what to do. So that city wants them to come in and pretty much just redevelop almost the entire city. And the population is like only, I think 55,000. So it's not really a city, it's kind of a community, you know? Yeah. And so that's when we met yesterday, and I saw that they wanted me to start at a roundabout. That would be like the sense of arrival, I guess you can say. And so I said, okay, we'll do that. We see a church right there. So we're going to do the same thing. We're going to add some fresh fruit so that, you know, these minorities, these Black people will have access to fresh fruit and vegetables. And we're going to even put the trees along the road. We're going to make them fruit trees so that the homeless generation, children, anybody can just grab a peach or a plum, you know, how we grew up, you know, so you don't have to run in the house and eat all mama's food. You know, you can play outside all day, have a great time. It'll bring a sense of community back to the streets. People can sit outside that cafe and farmers market and, you know, socialize during the day after church. And we're going to do a dog park across the street, you know, just, you know, a way to bring a sense of community back. So yeah, our team is all about that.
Yeah. Well, congratulations on your show. Where can we catch the older episodes? Because I mean, I was really shocked when I saw on LinkedIn when you have posts that you have finally got the check, and I thought that was funny. so that's what drew me to your site, because I was like, when you have posts that check that you finally got a check for like 3 years, I think.
Yeah, my first residuals, because the residuals is crazy. Sometimes I get like $3,000 a month in residuals. Sometimes I get like $5,000, and it's like you can only see me like that and that. Because remember, they wanted me for a larger character, but I was at the architectural firm during the day. So I only had like 4 lines. I kid you not. And I did voiceovers. And when I first started out, I was one of the little dancers or whatever, but they refilmed the pilot. So you really can't even see me like that, but I'm slick getting paid for the rest of my life. So I don't regret it at all.
I just want to say thank you so much, Xena, for everything you have told us and just taught us today. I mean, it's been a lot of great gems. And I hope that so many people can watch what you have done and what you're going to do in the future. But I mean, it's been an honor and pleasure. I just want to say thank you to everybody who came on here. This will be on the YouTube page tonight. Next week, the first person who asked me the question, Peggy, will be our guest speaker next week. And she's the founder of the Nest Egg Builders, which I'm part of. And we're doing big things. So Peggy will be the guest speaker next week. Also next week, I'm going to have my Veterans Transition Speaker Series call with a CPA to help veterans talk about finances and what they should do with their taxes. So tune on for that. That will be this coming Wednesday, and then of course Peggy will be here on Thursday. So I don't want to say thank you guys once again. God bless you and take care.